Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Dirty Gaming and a new video on the channel with the day 3 or 3rd update for the Reign of Ares Raider. I've just got my 3rd and 4th voidstones by beating Maven and Uber Elder. I also self-farmed all the fragments, so I thought it made sense to bring a video out now, just showing the level of gear that my character's at to take on these fights, and also go through the atlas that I settled on to actually farm all these items myself, and then go through and complete the 2 fights. So let's start with the Atlas tree that I settled on. I tried Ultimatum for so long and it was just not good. It didn't seem to make a difference whether you out'd it or not. It looked better in T16 than T1s because you did get bigger groups of currency drops, but the rewards are just not worth it. The lead mechanic is pretty broken if you want to do any sort of strategy, because if it empowers the boss with 2 or 3, you've got no chance of killing that boss without taking a few deaths, which is a little bit annoying. So the Atlas tree I settled on in the end is a destructive play. You don't necessarily need to take all of the nodes that I did. This is just kind of what I settled on. And I'm not doing any mechanics. We're basically just doing maps, killing the boss. And then we obviously have these nodes here for Conqueror maps, Shaper map, Guardian maps, and then the Synthesis maps. And then we've taken these extra chances to get invitations. Now, one thing that is interesting about this tree is when you go and you witness Guardians or Conquerors, you also get Maven summoning 1 to 3 random bosses, which took me by surprise. But it makes things quite fun and keeps you on the edge of your toes, I guess. But this strategy worked really well. You do need a pretty decent character to do it, or at least know mechanics for bosses, because you can end up with 2 or 3 horrible bosses together. But my character's not particularly well geared. I think I've probably spent around 8 divines on the character in total, if that. We can go through the gear in a moment, and I'll go through the costly items. So all you're doing is you're just running 10 different maps to witness them from Maven. Then you go into the Maven Crucible, do the 10 boss fights. You get like a splinter or 2 drop, which forms a Maven writ in the end. But you also get plenty of Shaper, Guardian, and Conqueror maps to drop, and they're selling super quickly. The boss maps, depending what ones they are, sell from sort of 15 to 23 chaos, and they sell really quickly. And I had an absolute ton of them. I would think I was getting 1 every 2 maps, I would think. And then that's decent currency considering I was running an Ultimatum, which was not. I know there are more profitable strategies, but this isn't one I've tried before, and I really wanted to give it a go properly. Now they've fixed it so that Maven actually spawns the bosses even if you insta-delete the first boss. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to carry on doing it. I probably won't put any more currency into this character because I want to try one of the new gems. But now I know my character can farm currency, I'm just going to use this strategy for the next few days because I'm really enjoying it. I'll either sell all the maps myself or run the invitations. Realistically, I'm probably going to sell the maps and invitations that drop. But it was very lucrative. So there's going to be footage coming in and out as I talk with some of the destructive play and then the boss fights as well, which we'll talk through just to go through the level of gear, how I approached it, that sort of thing. But yeah, that's the Atlas tree. You don't have to take all of these map nodes. It's just because I went from a Wandering Path setup. And I really didn't have anything else I wanted to add in. You obviously don't add any of the Exarch and Eater stuff in because you're putting Maven on the map device. I've taken the quantity and rarity in the middle here, all the quantity here, and all the top hat because I am running the maps out. Obviously makes some quite difficult, but I did get on okay. Until I started bossing, I was actually gaining XP. But I've got to level 95. And I really don't need to be any higher than that. And with this sort of content that we're doing, if you get the wrong bosses in your map, you're going to die. So if you do try this, don't be discouraged if you take deaths. You will. Sometimes you get some horrible combinations of bosses. You know, you have no choice but to take on what Maven throws at you. So yeah, the rest of it is just pretty scuffed the tree. I've got some harvest nodes left here from when I was doing harvest, which is also very profitable at the minute. It's much more currency than it usually is at this stage of the league. But yeah, that's the Atlas tree. So we'll go through the gem links. For anyone who watched my last video, I've stuck with the same Nobilistas, Maniforged arrows, just because I find it a more comfortable playstyle. It's probably slightly less DPS, but all I have to worry about is attacking the boss and dodging stuff. I don't have to worry about putting totems down that might die. So we'll go through the gem links first, then I'll go through the gear and try and go through how much each item costs me. So in the bow, I've got my Mark on Hit, Sniper's Mark, and Life Tap support. I've also got my auras, which are Haste, Grace, and Flame Dash. The only reason I'm running Haste is because I have haste increase effect on my body armor. I should really run at anger because it's more DPS. In the gloves, we have Inspiration, Mana Forged Arrows, Lightning Arrow, and Storm Rain of the Conduit. Got another Mana Forged Arrow set up of Burning Arrow, Mana Forged, Ensnaring Arrow, and Inspiration. Have another Mana Forged in the boots, Power Charge on Crit, Frenzy, Inspiration, Mana Forged Arrows, and then we have our main 6 link, which is Fire Rain of Arrows, LE damage with attacks, Mirage Archer, Hypothermia because I just didn't want to colour my chest 2 green, 2 blue, 2 red. And it actually is decent damage because we're chilling. You got increased crit and Trinity. I need to flip a couple of these gems I've just noticed. Yeah, that's kind of it for the gem links. Now you notice I don't have a tincture anymore. That's because I've moved away and gone to the primalist because I just think there's definitely more scope to get more power from the build. I haven't got amazing bits yet and I still can't beat the final boss. I've come across the final boss twice. I do not understand the fight at all. I just die and don't know why. So realistically, until someone brings a video out with a guide, I'm probably going to be stuck getting my last 2 ascendancy points. So we'll go through that first. So ascendancy is still the same for Raider, Quartz Infusion, Avatar of the Veil, Rapid Assault, Avatar of the Chase. And then with our Primalist, if we zoom in, I went for 2 charms. They were not mega expensive. They were like, from what I remember, 20 to 25 chaos each. So we have critical strike chance. Oh no, this one, sorry, was about 60. We have critical strike chance while at maximum power charges, 3% increased evasion rating per frenzy. And then 39% increased effective onslaught, 5% increased evasion per frenzy. So nothing particularly amazing. Just ones that synergize really well because they're part of Raider anyway. We're just basically getting a super juiced Raider ascendancy. And then obviously it'd be very nice to unlock this last one if I ever figure out how to do that boss. I went back to point blank just for Uber Elder. All of the other mapping and all of the other bosses I didn't have point blank. I just thought for Uber Elder because I am not very good at that fight. The more damage I can get, the better. And I'll probably keep it in now we've rejigged the tree. We have a Lionized Jewel, which I think we had in the last video. And then we've got a Lethal Pride. So the Lethal Pride is basically double damage, 1 life node, 1 fist taken aside. That's it. It cost me 2 divines. It was super expensive. They're just going to keep going down and down and down as more flood the market. And then the Lionized, I think, was 80 when I bought it. That, again, is probably cheaper now. Other than that, it's kind of the standard treat for the build guide. So we'll nip into the gear. So, yeah, for the tree, you're looking at 2 divines and 80 chaos in total. I would think now it's probably more realistic 2 divines for both. I purchased a bow, which cost me 2 divines, which is about 750-ish LE DPS, attack speed and crit chance. I did want to craft the bow, but I didn't want to really spend 5 to 6 divines crafting a better bow than this when I may not stay on a bow character for much longer. So I just took the easy way out, went on trade. This was available for 2 divines, which I thought was a decent deal, so bought it. It's not amazing tiers of damage. It's tier 5, tier 3, and tier 2, but it does the job perfectly well. Other than that, I don't think I've actually bought any gear. The rest was from the last video and was self-crafted. If you want to know more about how to do that, there is a guide that I'll link in the video description for how to craft all of this gear. So we have just, yeah, a helmet with reduced mana cost of attacks, fizz taken as cold. Gloves, attack speed, and fizz converted to cold because I ran out of currency. Body armor with haste and critical strike multiplier for attack damage. And then obviously we can't put them on boots because they are unique. Hiris, we've still got Fury Bolts on there because I haven't got any oils. And I will put some crit catalyst on it to get it up to over 50% crit multi. And yeah, the rest of the gear I won't go through because it's the same. The upgrades we've made are the bow and then the jewels. Because I'm not running tinctures anymore, I can put another flask in. So I've just picked up an Aziri's Promise for a bit of chaos res and a bit of damage. We have our Diamond Flask that we definitely need to re-roll because that's a super low tier of crit chance. Our Jade Flask with evasion. And then our Quicksilver Flask with attack speed. So it's very hard to estimate the price because I crafted it myself. So when I said it was 8 divines, looking at it, it's probably not. It's probably more 5 to 6, I would think. And which I'm really happy with that investment to be able to do the destructive play farming I was doing and get the full voidstones myself. I'm really happy with, especially this early on in the league. I don't think there's much more to go through on the gear itself. I'll just talk a bit through destructive play so you can decide whether it's for you. and sort of Maven and Uber Elder, and when I think you should tackle it based on your experience. So the structure play felt really good. I did it as soon as the Keystone come out. I can't remember if it's last league or the league before, but it was a little bit bugged in that if you killed Maven's boss too quick, she wouldn't bring any further bosses. So what it meant was you had to basically hang around and wait for her to do a voice line, then you could kill the bosses. It just felt really bad, slowed you down, and it just doesn't feel good to have to stand around in a boss arena duking a boss's abilities because you can't kill it because Maven isn't going to function properly. So it definitely works really well now. I think the downside, which is why a lot of people don't do it, is you have to do 10 maps. So the way I will do it now, I've got my voidstones, is I'll probably favorite 10 maps that I hate once I get my slots unlocked. And then we can use this keystone here, which is shadow shaping, which essentially means maps that you find can't be your favorites. So I can rule maps out that I definitely don't want to do. What's also good is maps found in your maps have 1% chance to have a special modifier for each different map you have favorited. So if we favorite whatever we'll have, 9 maps I think we'll have to favorite, that's 9% chance for every single map to drop to have a special implicit, which is really cool. So I'll probably take that and then just favorite some maps that we have no interest in taking. So for Maven, I took 1 death and it was a really stupid death. I'm quite annoyed I wasn't deathless. It was in the blob phase. I totally lost concentration. I didn't have very nice bosses in that stage, so I was a bit wary about them killing me, and without even paying attention, I moved straight into the degen beam and stood in it and died, which is a little bit annoying. That was the only death. I had 1 death on Uber Elder, which I'm not sure I could have avoided, where Shaper was off screen, and as I ran towards the top of the screen, he basically was dead in line with me and did his Shaper beam and obviously killed me. So yeah, I'm quite pleased about that because it is a fight I'm not particularly good at. So as I said, from here, going forward with the character, I'll probably bring 1 more update out, but that's probably going to be more of a farming video to go through the destructive play strategy, the currency, profit per map, that sort of thing, and then what I plan to do next. I still don't know 100% what build I want to do, but I think with all the power you can get from the new Ascendancy, I think we can make a lot of builds work from the new gem. So I'm going to find what I want to do. We'll go from there. I still really like the idea of Lightning Strike. Firing off 2 or 3 projectiles that chain 9 times. That sounds a lot of fun, and clear should be really, really good, especially on a raider with the speed that we get. So I've still got a few of the boss maps that I farmed doing this strategy. I'll probably wait until I've got more so I can sell them in sets, but these sell really, really quickly. You can also, if you want to sell them, go to TFT and sell them there. I've just been listing them on trade. People will whisper you and then you say, do you want more? And then they'll buy the whole lot of you most of the time. I still need to get some uniques completed, quite a lot of them, and obviously the ones with all the important crafts a lot behind. So we're definitely going to need to do that before I move on to my next character, because I might need to metacraft some gear. So basically sitting on a whole 84 chaos, because I've literally spent every penny I've earned from sales to get the gear I think I needed to do Uber Elder and Maven. We're sitting on a ton of red currency because it's not worth anything. We'll keep sitting on it until maybe the prices change, and a little bit of the green currency that we've just come across. But that's it for this video. I'll leave you with the full Maven and Uber Elder fights at the end of the video, just in case you wanted to watch them in your own time. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and see you in the next one.